appreciate everyone giving us your time to attend this webinar. And I want to make sure that each one of you get maximum benefit of your time. So I will request, if you have any question, please post it on the chat box so our team members can look at it and we address it. It is more important to us to answer your question because that's why you are here, rather than going through all the slides of our presentation. So please ask questions and post it on the chat box, and also leave your phone number or email address. So just in case if we don't um, respond to your questions, we can get back to you and then try to understand what the challenges you are facing and help you out. All right. So the agenda for today is first I will give only 2 to 3 minutes regarding our complete smart cloud solution, and then we will get deep into the multi-cloud, and we will talk about choosing the right cloud service provider. It will be around 30 minutes, but we will be more focusing on the question. Please ask questions. And then we have our chief architect, Muhammad Usman, and he will be answering your questions as well. So let me try to explain who we are. Basically, we are a cloud technology solution provider, and as you know, that there are multiple cloud technology service providers in the market. We have Microsoft, Azure, Amazon, Google, Alibaba, IBM, and many others. So what we do that we are the innovation partners with the business. So we work the business, try to understand what their needs are, and then accordingly we suggest appropriate solution to them. So we are not biased against any technology. So, and we help each business um, in their cloud adoption journey. So if they are still looking to move to the cloud and trying to understand that which cloud platform will be better for them, we are there to help them. But if they have already selected a cloud service provider, that is fine. We can help them in migrating to the cloud. If they are already on the cloud, we can help them in the development stage. If they already have some application and they want to us to maintain, we have the DevOps operation team as well, where we can help in that regard. Or if you already have one cloud and trying to move to another one, that is called multi-cloud, and we can help there as well. And that is the topic for today. We will explain it to you that how you can use the multi-cloud environment. There can be some area where you can utilize it. So let me introduce to our presenter, and he is a multi-cloud expert. And okay, all right. So I was talking about the speaker, Muhammad Usman Khan. He's a multi-cloud trainer and consultant. He started his journey as a computer engineer, and he has a lot of background in networking. Remember, previously he used to have Microsoft networks, Cisco. He's certified in many areas. He has done 1,500 hours of teaching and training, and his students are across the globe, more than 10 different countries, and he has the multi-cloud experience. So at this time, I will share my screen, and I will give control to Muhammad Usman, who is our chief architect at Smart Cloud Solution, and he will present about multi-cloud. So let me give my control to Usman.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Actually, there is an electricity issue here, so sorry. Okay, okay, let me start. Did you make me presenter, Shazad?
Yes.
Okay, where should I start? Unable to see as presenter. Okay, uh, just 1 minute. Where is it? Okay, do let me know when you are able to see my screen.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, okay, thank you. Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Muhammad Usman Khan, and I'm working as a chief architect at Smart Cloud Solutions. Right. Okay, so I'm working in the cloud technology from the last 5 years as a multi-cloud trainer and consultant. So I've completed a 15 hour plus of hands-on training in 10 plus countries, approximate 12 countries, and trained more than 400 IT professionals belongs to 100 or 150 plus organizations. Apart from the training side, I am working as a multi-cloud consultant and had experience for more than 15 plus companies including Fortune 100 as well to work as a multi-cloud including AWS, Alibaba and the GCP as well. So I am a 5x AWS certified, 2x Google certified and a 2x Alibaba certified as well. So the reason of today's session is to encourage you guys and motivate you guys the importance and the benefits of multi-cloud in your career, in your life and in your business. If you are a businessman and provide some IT services, then you should understand the importance of the multi-cloud. Why, what is multi-cloud and what's the importance of multi-cloud in today market, especially after the COVID-19, right? So let's get started. These are my certifications which I have completed. Okay, so let's start from some questions that's come in our mind. What is the cloud and multi-cloud and the hybrid cloud? So let's discuss one by one. So cloud is actually the suite of products which you normally run in your organizations physically, right? And in some sort of virtual aspect, right? So cloud include base of the four different categories or the four different building blocks, including network, storage, databases, and virtualization, right? Or should I say the network, compute, storage, and databases, right? Whenever we talk about the multi-cloud means the piece of the same building blocks, but they are different public vendors. Public vendor including the AWS Cloud, the Google Cloud. They are actually the public cloud provider, but they are different sort of companies. They are not a single company, right? So whenever we talk about the word cloud, cloud is actually the buzzword which includes the multiple products. Multiple products means if we talk about the networking part, you can work for the routing perspective, the switching perspective, and the network and the static routing as well, right? And the development part, DevOps part, compute part, storage part, machine learning, AI, so many services which are actually divided into multiple different domains, right? So normally AWS providing 170 plus services, Alibaba providing 100 plus services, and the Google providing the 80 plus services in different domains. Whenever we talk about the hybrid cloud means hybrid cloud, the term hybrid cloud we normally refer in two different aspects: the communication between cloud to cloud, like the AWS cloud to Google cloud or the AWS cloud to, or we can say your on-prem infrastructure connected with any one of them is also the part of hybrid cloud. So you can use hybrid cloud term in two different aspects, right? So where is the cloud? Cloud is actually the base on the geographical regions. Like whenever we talk about any one of them, including Amazon Cloud, Google Cloud, Azure Cloud, or Alibaba Cloud, they are based in different geographical locations based on distinct physical locations, right? Like whenever we talk about the geographical location, one geographical location is based on or is included multiple physical locations called the zones based on physical data centers where we actually host the infrastructure, where we actually host the storage part, right, and the rest of the services as well. Same of the different clouds like the Google Cloud, Azure Cloud. So all of them are actually use the same characteristics and the same functionality, starting from the regions, and then one region have multiple zones or the network locations. That network zones and the location are actually based and actually exist as a physical data center where we actually host your data in terms of computation, in terms of storage capacity, in terms of data security, and all of these services actually based on as a service. Whenever we talk about the cloud part and the cloud products, we are actually talking about the some sort of services. For example, the infrastructure as a service, where we normally buy the server for hourly basis, monthly basis, or the per second, like the pay as you go model. Same as for the storage as a service, security as a service, database service. Everything are actually based on a fully managed service. You don't need to provision anything from scratch. Everything is running. You just need to go and start working and just pay as you go model, right? Now, whenever we talk about, uh, is there any question here? Uh, okay, Shazad, I would suggest to focus on the chat box, right? I'm not looking the messages options.
Yeah, I'm looking at the chat box.
Okay, okay, thank you. Okay, guys, are you listening any background noise from my side, or is it okay? Okay. Uh-huh. Yeah. Shazad, what you suggest? Should we take questions in the middle right away or in the last? What you suggest?
Yeah, you can take the question in the middle.
Okay,
It's
okay.
more important to answer the question rather
Yes,
than going into the slides.
correct, correct. So please go ahead and ask. And please first introduce yourself, like your name, so that I can understand who's asking the question. Okay. You can ask either chat or the verbal. No, no worries. Okay, okay, welcome. So should I proceed? Any question from attendee side, or we are good to go? Okay. So we have completed the what is cloud. So always remember the cloud computing word and the cloud word. Although it's not mentioned in our slide, but you guys should understand the difference between cloud and cloud computing. Whenever we talk about the cloud computing, it means we are talking and we are referring something related to the computation process that are actually exist beyond your physical aspect or beyond your physical location or actually exist in the distinct location across the world. Whenever we talk about the cloud, like I said, is actually the based on multiple products, is actually the suite which actually subdivided into multiple domains. Domain include the network part, storage part, development part, DevOps part, database part, machine learning, AI, security, compliance, regulations, and user computing, and so on, right? And if we talk about the market share, AWS has normally the 60 to 70% market share. Azure has approximate 40 to 50% market share. Normally, whenever we talk about the corporate side, the Azure is leading on that part. And whenever we talk about the enterprise solution and enterprise part, the Azure is actually leading. Oh, sorry, AWS is leading as compared with the Azure side, right? And the Google part, Google is actually focused on the machine learning and AI part, along with the rest of the services that are the providing the rest of the cloud providers. But the market share of the Google Cloud is comparatively very much low, uh, with Google. with AWS and Azure side is approximate 10 to 15% market share. And whenever we talk about the Alibaba Cloud, the market share is approximate 6 to 7 or more or less 8%, like because the Alibaba Cloud is focusing on the China and the surrounding regions like Hong Kong, the Malaysia, Indonesia, and that part, right? But what's the importance of the multi-cloud in our career, in our life? We will discuss it later, right? So difference between the cloud and multi-cloud, we have already discussed. Cloud is actually the suite of products, and multi-cloud is also a suite of products. But cloud refer to the single vendor like AWS or the Google or Azure or Alibaba, right? But whenever we talk about a multi-cloud, you can replace the or word with and word. AWS plus Alibaba plus Google or plus Azure, right? The term cloud computing is everywhere, right? Okay, so we have already discussed this part: running workloads, virtualization, pool of resources, and the building blocks are network, stores, databases, and computation, right? So benefit of cloud: the efficiency and the cost reduction. Why cost reduction? Because it's a pay as you go model. Instead of buy a server for the whole month, you just pay what you use. Depend on the pricing calculation on per hour basis, per minute basis, or per second basis, like. And the efficiency, if we talk about the efficiency part, it means the agility and the go global in minutes. It means you can create your resources as compared with your physical infrastructure where you provision your the one server or the two server the whole day, or sometime the 2 to 3 days, which include the complete software and other items. Even the whenever you buy the servers, it takes approximately 1 to 2 weeks to approval and the reach on your physical location, as compared with the cloud where you just provision your server within just 5 to 10 minutes, right? So that will save your time, save your effort, save your money, and including, yeah, definitely the capex value as well, because you don't need to any put any capital expenditure like electricity, AC, power outage, and so on. Okay, data security. So whenever we talk about the data security or the infrastructure security, we divided this part into two different aspects: security of the cloud and security in the cloud, right? Security of the cloud mean the physical security of the region of the data center. Definitely we cannot say the region security, because region is a geographical word, because region is based on multiple data centers, which is actually based the physical locations, right? So security of the cloud means no one can go inside the data center uh, like any unauthorized person, right? No one can touch the servers, no one can unplug the servers without any unauthorized person, right? Same for security in the cloud. Security in the cloud means the data, the infrastructure which you manage and which you provision over the public public cloud infrastructure, including AWS, Google, Azure, and Alibaba, right? So in that case, you have to manage the data security, which include the data encryption, data at rest, data in transit, right? And the data encryption part, right? And the security part. Security part means network ACLs and the security group, which include the stateless firewalls, stateful firewalls, where you actually block the ports, block the IP addresses, and so on, right? So these part actually include the data security. Any question from the data security or this slide part, or should I proceed?
Yes, Usman, I have a question regarding multi-cloud.
Yeah, sure.
Like, can you discuss a case like where someone would be needing multi-cloud? Like, if I can host or like I can do all the work that I need to do on AWS, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I choose Alibaba over it or Azure over it?
Definitely,
So what would be the case where I would go for the multi-cloud side?
yes, yes. Let me explain with some of my experience with my client, right? I will give you 1 to 2 examples, right? Start from the one client case study. Like one of my client was working on the AWS side. So they are actually looking to create the DR side on other cloud. So they were referring to the Google Cloud. Why? Because my client was exist in the US side, and definitely you know the economic war. You understand the economic wars, right? So they don't want to deploy anything related to the China sector or the China part, like Huawei cloud or the Alibaba cloud or any cloud related to the Asia or the China side, Asia or China side, right? So definitely they would prefer the Google Cloud part, because Google Cloud is actually based on the US part. So actually they want to rid off from the AWS side as a backup. They don't want to leave the AWS part. Definitely they were running on the AWS, the actual infrastructure on AWS, but they wanted to deploy the DR side on the any other cloud except the AWS. But the limitation is their data centers, the physical locations should be inside the US among any states, right? Any state. So normally Google was the right choice. Google was the right choice. So they actually hosted the DR solution in the Google side in order to provide the active passive failover. In case the AWS have any limitations, AWS have some economic issues, like the government banned the AWS, right? In some reasons, right? So in that case, they normally have the chance to move and run the the company and the current infrastructure on the any other cloud, which is actually parallel on the AWS side. That's the first reason. Got my point? The first reason. Okay, let's move to the second case. In the second case, the user actually created the hub and spoke network. So they were actually located in the US side, Canada side, South Africa side, and the Middle East as well, like 4 to 5 different branches. And they actually were looking the hub and spoke network. Hub and spoke means the one is the head office and the rest of the branches. Branches includes another cloud provider and the some in some cases the on-prem physical data center. So what we suggest, we actually created the AWS infrastructure as a hub, as a primary, and using the some areas using the AWS Direct Connect, where we configured that the physical fiber using the ISP like Equinix and other ISP providers. Because and in some areas we configure the Google part using direct connect, oh sorry, using interconnect in order to complete the hub and spoke part. Because AWS Google has some good benefits as compared with the AWS. First, Google have a dark fiber, the own dark fiber across the world, where AWS doesn't have. AWS totally dependent on the third party ISPs. So you can create the interconnect, like the direct fiber from your office to the Google data center without the interruption and without the involvement of any sort of ISP, unlike AWS where you involve some ISP in order to connect this part, right? So in that case, we increase the throughput from 1 gigabit to 80 gigabit per second, right? Because they were actually data providers, so they were looking to fast data throughput without any downtime and without any latency. So what we achieve on that scenario and that case studies, we actually deploy the hub and spoke network. We actually involve the three different aspects like Amazon Cloud, Google Cloud, and some area the physical data center as an hub and spoke network. And we increase our throughput from 1 gigabit per second to 80 gigabit per second on the private VLANs or the dark fibers. So these were two case studies. And the third, which we normally prefer, is the economic war. Like if the Asia region, and if we talk about the Asia part, most of them, you don't know guys, that the Qatar football, I think the 2020 FIFA football, I think, yeah, Qatar football, I don't remember, I think, which was held in the 2020 or the 2021, is based on the whole on Alibaba Cloud, using the big data analysis and the big data service. So Alibaba won that bit as compared with the AWS and Google side, because in the Asia part, Alibaba has the much more market as compared with the AWS and the Google part. So whenever we talk about the Asia side, like the Malaysia, Indonesia, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and the surrounding areas, the Alibaba has a much more grip as compared with the AWS and Google Cloud, because they actually prove themselves. They actually provide the best services as compared with the AWS and Google side. So what we did, we actually host all of them in the Alibaba Cloud as a primary, and then use the AWS side in the middle seat as a backup or sort of DR, and in some sort of sandbox environment. Do you understand the sandbox environment? Can anyone tell me the sandbox environment? Sandbox is actually the testing environment. Like normally we know that the pre-prod, prod, or some sort of the QA environment, but the sandbox environment is a very little and a very small part where we actually play. It's sort of our digital playground where we test, where we build something, right, where we destroy anything without losing our virtual and the production infrastructure. So normally in some cases I use Google Cloud as a sandbox environment for the Kubernetes engine, for the app engine, because the Kubernetes is actually the native tool of the Google Cloud. So we use them, and in some cases Google Cloud provide us the 30% sustained discount as compared with the AWS. So we won that part in order as compared with the AWS pricing. Like in some part AWS gave us 9,000 US dollars for the whole infrastructure deployment, while as compared with the Google Cloud, where they offered us approximate 6,500 US dollar if we use the 24/7 infrastructure running on without any downtime. So
Usman,
yes.
can you please admit few people who are in the waiting room?
Oh, okay, just 1 minute, let me sorry, I didn't know. Yeah, sure, please ask, please ask. I'm unable to listen a little bit. Can you please uh, your voice is coming from too far. Seems your headphone
Yes.
is.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. So I am working in a Microsoft environment, and in Microsoft environment we have something which is called Hyper-V application.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, in which we have an application from one server to another. It's also a cluster-based application which you can configure it. So if you have a two or more cluster, then you can replicate VM from one cluster to another, and then A to B and then C to C. These are A and B and C are the three clusters. These are all Microsoft architecture.
Mm-hmm.
In the multi-cloud environment, we have a different sort of compute architecture because Azure have a different type of VMs, virtual machines that they are using. These are different. Similarly, for the Google has something else. Alibaba is also giving the compute, but its name is EC2, but their base are different. How the data replicate or how VMs replicate from private cloud to the AWS or ACC
Okay, good question. So normally in that case, we don't replicate the VMs, uh, except in some cases where we use the VMware. Like whenever we talk about the AWS side, AWS VMware is actually the partner of AWS. So if you are running the ESXi server or the vCenter, you can easily communicate with the VMware with the AWS side. Also, AWS provide us the one different solution where which I didn't see in the Google Cloud or the Alibaba Cloud, right? Which is called the Outpost. Outpost is actually the physical server which will be hosted on your physical infrastructure, but actually the VM which you will place on that server, which will be appear in the EC2 console in the AWS side in that case. But related to your question, we normally do active failure or the active passive failure. Like we normally use four different type of failover and the backup strategy. What's called the backup and restore, second is the pilot light, third is a warm store, and the fourth one is active, which is most expensive, as you know, because all of them, both side will be up and running on the 24/7, right? So we normally use the routing technologies or the failover technologies. In the AWS side, we normally use the Route 53 perspective for that. But definitely we cannot migrate the VM from the AWS side to the Google side in the least amount of time, because we have to maintain the RTPO. You normally know the RTPO, recovery time and point object. So we have to make our server and the infrastructure up and running in the minimum amount of time, right? So in that case, what we normally do, if we normally configure the active passive failover, we using the multi-cloud. So we normally use the routing functionality, and the Amazon Route 53 is one best example. Currently, we deployed the SAP HANA in the Middle East side for the VAT, value added tax services, right? So we normally use the Route 53 failover, right, in order to maintain the SAP HANA databases that in terms of active passive failover. And we normally, in some cases, we use the weight based failover routing, where we would like to move the traffic from Asia side to Asia server and the Europe side to Europe server using the weight based routing. Got my point? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Any other question, or should I proceed? You guys are open to ask, right?
Yeah, hi Usman sir,
Hello.
this is Imran from
Yeah.
Denmark. Yeah, actually, I want to know about the security, data security.
Mm-hmm.
How secure the cloud is, not the physical in a physical way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm asking about the cloud because if I talk to the client
Mm-hmm.
and I want to tell him that the cloud is secure portal for your business,
Mm-hmm.
so how can I means convince him
Mm-hmm.
as a
Okay.
businessman that that security is
Okay.
the major concern.
Okay. I understand. Okay. First, tell me one question. Definitely, when you and someone else agreed on some aspect, definitely you put a witness in front of you, right? And you both trust on them. Am I right?
No, I didn't get that.
Means Imran and me, like Usman and Imran, are doing some business. So me and Imran put some a witness man, right? A man sort of witness who will actually justify ourselves, and we both will trust them, right?
Okay,
So in that case, in technical part, we normally use as a witness, as for witness purpose, we normally use regulation and compliance authority. So let's talk about the regulation and compliance authority. Whenever we talk about the medical and insurance data, we normally look forward towards the HIPAA compliant. Whenever we talk about the credit card security, we look forward for the PCI DSS compliance. Whenever we talk about the other sort of audit and policies, we normally look forward for the ISO 27001, ISO 27002, ISO 27003, SOC 1, SOC 2, SOC 3, and so on. So whenever you sit in front of them as a provider, as a service provider, and someone asks you about the data security, you can provide them the regulation and compliance white paper related to AWS. Not for AWS, for Google and Alibaba Cloud, because all of them are giving the regulation and compliance document in order to make sure that they are secured and they are being watched by the regulation and compliance authorities.
regulation and compliance authorities.
Authorities, like they are compliance authorities, PCI
Yeah,
DSS.
exactly. I understand.
Yes.
I understand.
So def
HIPAA and SOS and ISO,
yes,
all the
when
regulation authorities.
yes, whenever we bought something, like buy a car, buy a bike, or any asset, right? Definitely we have a bond paper, right? Bond paper based on the government where you the country where you live, right? So uh, the bond paper and the paper is actually witnessed by the government, right? Government is ensured that they are witness of this bond paper. So whenever we talk about the data security and the compliance, definitely these compliance and uh, the regulation authorities are actually the witness between you and your third party. Third party means your client.
Okay. So who is the regulation authority of this cloud environment?
Cloud environment doesn't have a single single what should I say, the single regulation and compliance authority, right? Because in the cloud you are using storage, you are using physical server, you are using data. Okay. So in that case, might be possible your client is based on medical or the insurance company, some hospital, some insurance company. In that case, your compliance should be fulfilled by HIPAA, right? HIPAA. I don't know the full name of HIPAA, right? And same, if you are using any e-commerce gateway or the payment card APIs, right? So you have to make sure that your cloud provider must be authorized, right, by PCI DSS. PCI stands for Payment Card Industry Data Security, something like that, right? So these are actually the regulation and compliance, and all of them, like all of the cloud provider, are actually compliant by this regulation authority, right? So whenever you put the data on the behalf of your customer, right, definitely they will ask and they would like to see that are they compliant authorized or not. So if they are compliant authorized, you can easily verify by the cloud vendor provided document. Definitely no one will allow you to come and check their servers and allow you to breach the security parts, the physical security part, definitely. And you don't have time to go travel to the specific region and area to check either whether is it the actually compliant or not. You can just ask the compliant company like the PCI DSS. You can ask either AWS document is real or fake, right? So you have two both option. Either you can trust the AWS or the other cloud provided documents, or if you don't have a trust, right, you can ask directly to the compliant like HIPAA, PCI DSS, and ask about them, are they certified or not. Definitely these are the easy one.
Depends on nature of business.
Yes, nature of business, because if you are uh, currently providing the insurance and medical, like I said, I was working with the Fortune 100 in the US side, the company called the Humana. I was working with them, right? Humana is actually the army related or the insurance company and the medical related facility, right? So they were actually compliant by the HIPAA, and they were actually using all of three: Amazon, Azure, and Google. Same for I was working with the Mercedes Benz, I was working for the Carriage Home Health. So they are actually based on the medical insurance part, right? So they are fully compliant with the HIPAA. Either, even if they don't have a part of the multi cloud, even they are running on the physical infrastructure, they, they should have to compliant with the HIPAA.
And just to add to that, I believe HIPAA is restricted to US, right? It's not in other countries.
Uh, I don't know. I saw the HIPAA in the US side and the in the US and the Pacific side. I don't know about the Europe side. Same for whenever we talk about the data security, the GDPR, the European Union and the Europe area, the GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation, right? This based on the Europe area, not the US part. Might be possible the US some alternative on that part, but you have to see what's the regulation authority as per your nature of business of your client, right? Okay, thank you.
Hi Usman, this is Wasik.
Was it?
How are you?
Yeah, fine, thank you.
Good. Yeah, I had the same question what just Imran had,
Hmm.
and really the best way to pitch a client on that one, Imran, I would say what on saying this, I want to add it like yes, the physical security what they have on ground, on premises with their existing infrastructure, that has to be there in the cloud, and cloud assures you for that. So that was my winning point, by the way.
Yes, because whenever we talk about the customer perspective, first you should understand the customer pain point. If you understand the customer pain point, the customer is yours, right? That I was doing from the last 5 years.
True.
Okay, anyways, asking a question. Yeah, please. Anyone have a question, or should I proceed?
Okay, Usman, can you look at the waiting room? See
Uh,
if someone is ready.
Let me check where is the waiting room. uh, just 1 minute.
I think we missed the initial part. I was in the waiting queue.
Sorry, I was fully focused on
No, 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 that's
the,
all right.
or even I'm.
Not a main.
Yeah, sure.
In case of any security breach in the cloud or like in case of any data loss of customers, like do these cloud providers have any compensation policy in place?
I didn't read any compensation policy. Instead, I read the uptime SLA or the backup retention policies, right? I didn't see any compensation part. Definitely, you have to contact them directly for the compensation part. Normally, cloud provider will not write any compensation in the public document, because in any case, in a very rare scenario, if any compensation uh, met on that part, definitely they have to negotiate with you. That's the main point. But if it see,
I'm just talking generally. Like I'm
huh,
using it, and I use it whenever we spend a link for like data link or anything. Whatever services we give to our customers, we normally give them a general SLA. For example, I give them SLA like the uptime of this link is going to be like
yes,
99.9%.
yes, yes,
So
yes, that's the part.
they have the right to like claim the rebate. I'm gonna pay for that. Like in case of
Oh,
data, like
okay, okay,
so
okay,
I'm in that direction. Like
okay, okay.
in
Now,
case of data loss or like any security breach, like what is the what's it called?
unfortunately, I didn't see any part, but yes, you are right. Just 1 minute. Someone is waiting on the waiting room. Uh, okay,
I think
okay.
it depends on the account and the SLA that you have got on.
Hmm.
And I'm pretty sure if there is a breach or there is something, then unfortunately you're not the part of that 0.0001% guy. But I think they should provide some compensation.
Yes, so I sorry, but I didn't see, like I said, I didn't see any sort of compensation like how much they will pay. But definitely, yes, in the uptime SLA, every services have a proper uptime SLA exist. Like for example, if we talk about the Amazon S3 storage, S3 storage has the sub part like the standard part is standard infrequent access, the reduced redundancy service, right? So every sub part have the different SLA like 99.99 SLA, 99.999 SLA, 99.5 SLA, uptime SLA, right? And even they will also tell you that how many data centers are involved in order to secure or the save your data. Like if we talk about the S3 standard, they will keep your data in three different data centers, not the zone, but the three different data centers, right? So such type of part which actually normally cloud provider will tell you. Okay. Any other question, or should I proceed? Okay, so another question. Okay, someone is. Okay, another the most demanding and the important feature of the cloud, scalability. So normally scalability is based on two different aspects: horizontal scalability and the vertical scalability. So we have to understand both of them. Vertical scaling normally we do whenever we increase the specific amount of RAM and CPU for permanent basis. Like if you are running a 2 GB RAM of server, and now you need to go beyond that part for permanent basis like 24/7 from 2 to 4 GB of RAM, you have to do from vertical scaling. Same for CPU purpose. But eventually and occasionally the server takes a load, and after the once the event is gone, the server capacity goes down, you have to do some horizontal scaling, right? So horizontal scaling required the elastic load balancer and the auto scaling. These are the only part which are actually same among the Amazon cloud, Google cloud, Azure cloud, and the Alibaba cloud, along with some minimum changes. Okay, mobility. So whenever we talk about the mobility increase the remote access of the corporate data via smartphones and other devices. So definitely AWS, Google, Alibaba provide the SDKs, provide the APIs, and provide the web application, but definitely they have the limited functionality. If you are working as the cloud architect or a businessman, you have to understand the importance of web console, because all of the functions, the 100% functions will be available on the web console, and you can use web console from anywhere, right? Okay, so disaster recovery we have already discussed in past. Disaster recovery and the DR part, you can create the DR part as active active and the active passive using the active passive failover. Okay, it includes the high availability as well. because some area the high availability include only the high availability part, some part high availability with failover. Like if the one data center is going down, the second will be takeover. But in some cases, both of them are as active, and the one data center goes down, the second will be take action and took all the user connection on the second part. Okay, uh, just 1 minute. Where is the chat option?
Is at the bottom. Or if you move your cursor up, you'll see the panel.
Okay, okay. So my share is screen share, right? Okay, no, sorry. So two questions. Please provide your contribution. Okay, so I'm going move forward. Competitive edge. So whenever we talk about the competitive edge, so every cloud providers have a different competitive edge. Like whenever we talk about the AWS part, the competitive edge is they have the large amount of data centers and the edge locations and the regions as compared with the Google, Alibaba, and Azure side. They have more than 75 to 80 data centers and the 60 to 70% market share, right? And the 170 plus services the AWS providing, including the robotics part and the satellite as well. I didn't see the satellite and robotics part in the Azure, Google, and the Alibaba. Correct me if I'm wrong, because definitely it's hard to see all of the services in all the clouds, right? Whenever we talk about the competitive edge of the Google part, Google actually is providing the network layer which is its own, like the dark fiber. So Google is not dependent on any third party ISP. Google is running the own dark fiber across the world, so you can connect the fiber from the Google data center to your data center or your office directly without the involvement of any third party ISP, unlike AWS and Alibaba and Azure, where you need to involve the ISP, which is actually the partner of the actually cloud provider, in order to maintain the direct connect or the interconnect circuits. Any question?
which means
Yeah.
yeah. So which means countries
Hmm.
where they don't have those data centers,
Hmm.
they're not providing their those direct connect services.
Not only the countries we don't have the ISPs or the regions, but also where the AWS data center exists. In some cases, you also cannot use the direct connect facility, because it might be possible that the ISP, the same state and the same city where you live and the Amazon data center exists, but might be possible the ISP whom you are using the services is not a part of AWS or the Google Cloud. In that case, you cannot be connect with AWS.
But then, but then in that case, I can have another ISP which has a contract with AWS.
Yes. You can go directly in case AWS side. You can just go to AWS Direct Connect, check the Direct Connect providers, check enter your state, like in the US side, state and the city, and check the location and check the ISP name, and then contact. Like, yeah, go ahead.
No, no, no. Please, please.
Yeah, so in my case, I spent approximate 4 years in the US side with AWS and Google clients. So normally, most of them, the renewable known name is Equinix. I spent time approximate two to
Equinix.
3 years, so I didn't see any difficulty working with Equinix whenever I work on the AWS side and as well as the Google side, right? This so Equinix seems like the world's largest or the world's most demanding ISP in as compared with the rest of the ISPs, right? Because they are physically exist in the UK, US side, Europe side, and the Asia side as well.
And they have in whatever you say,
Yes,
AWS, Google, and all.
but
Google, I won't say Google because, as you said, like Google goes with the dark fiber thing, right?
yes. So in the dark fiber, sometime we refer the dark fiber with the direct connect or the interconnect.
Ah, okay, okay,
So
okay, fair enough.
yeah, also interconnects have the two terms. Interconnect means the connectivity between you and the cloud provider with the help of third party, but actually the interconnect is actually the service name of the Google, of the dark fiber, as compared with the AWS, which is called the direct connect, as compared with the Alibaba, which is called the express route, as compared with the Azure cloud, which is called the express route, right? But the Google have the only function, Google have the only functionality, which is the competitive edge, I can say, as compared with the rest of the them. Like, you can directly connect the Google data center with your data center without any involvement of the third party ISP, including Equinix as well. Why? Because they have a dark fiber across the world. They have their own fiber across the world.
So when you say dark fiber, because I know what dark fiber is, how does it work? So when you say dark fiber, like in terms of technology, is a dark fiber, or their direct connect is called a dark fiber?
Direct connect is actually the term, the service name which actually AWS is using. But I'm not much in depth in the dark fiber side. Like, I'm not much aware of the dark fiber. But as I know, AWS normally provide 10 to 20 gigabit per second of the direct connect. Direct connect is actually service name, which the,
Right.
but whenever we talk about the Google side, Google is actually
Yeah.
claimed the 80 gigabit per second, up maximum of 80 gigabit. So definitely without the direct fiber it could not be possible, right?
Yeah, of course. That's
Right.
what I'm thinking. So
And the one more thing which I come in my mind, that the competitive, another competitive advantage of Google, definitely I'm not the salesperson of Google, but I'm really love a Google lover, right? Google cloud lover. So at the competitive advantage, the second competitive advantage of Google as compared with the Amazon, Azure and Alibaba, you can deploy the multi region deployment. Like, whenever you create a virtual network designing, software defined networking in AWS side or the Azure side, you can deploy the virtual private cloud in one region like North Virginia, and you can set up a CIDR blocks like in two different zones, like within the different cities but within the state, North Virginia, Ohio. But unlike AWS, Google give you the chance to create the virtual private cloud based on one region in London and one region in USA, or the one region in USA and second region in Asia side. Why? Because they own its own dark fiber. So the multi-region deployment is much more reliable as compared with the multi-zone deployment, where the single region is goes down, you cannot do anything. But if the single region is goes down, the whole country is goes down. Any worst scenario, your data will be, your server and infrastructure will be up and running due to multi-region deployment. This is the only competitive advantage in the multi-region deployment. That's the Google leads as compared with the Amazon, Azure and Alibaba due to only one reason, dark fiber.
so I no I didn't get this point.
Hmm.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, no,
So
no, no, no problem. You can ask. This is your, this is your webinar.
so my point is like in a so Amazon AWS, sorry, it supports multi-region VPC deployment, right? You have a
AWS side, AWS part?
yeah, I'm
No,
just saying,
no,
yeah,
no, no,
AW.
no, 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 no. It's only multi-zone.
Oh, it's only multi-availability zone. Okay, multi-AZ.
Multi-AZ means, for example, first, do you guys understand the difference between the region and availability zone? Region is actually
Yeah,
the geographic area, and the zone is actually the physical data center, the building block where you actually host your infrastructure, the physical servers and routers and as well, all of the things, sir. So whenever we talk about the multi-region and multi-zone deployment, whenever we talk about the multi-zone deployment, it means we are talking about the region deployment which include multiple data center, and the data are exist in different cities. I don't know the city name within the state. Someone could help me, right? If we talk about the North Virginia, so we can say two cities in the North Virginia where the physical data center exists. So if the North Virginia area is down, it includes the whole data centers which are exist within the North Virginia, regardless of any city within the state, will also goes down, right? But unlike AWS, whenever we talk about the Google side, Google have the one region in North Virginia which include three data center, for example, and the second region in the UK which includes the three different data center within the region. So we have two different distinct location, two different region and six data center. If the North Virginia, in the same case, if the North Virginia goes down in the Google side, so you can run your infrastructure using the UK side due to multi-region deployment without any single downtime.
Usman.
Yes.
We are only 1 minute left before 1 o'clock.
Hmm.
Thank you very much for your presentation. We
Okay.
had around 26 participants, and it looks like that people are interested
Yes.
in knowing
Yes.
more about it. So, thank you everyone for joining us, and please give us your email address. We will keep to continue, this session. We want to make sure that you are educated and you get, maximum benefit of this knowledge session, and then you are successful at your workplace. So please provide your contact information. So whenever we, most probably we will have next month this session again. So we can continue because there are more slides which we have to go through, and there are other topics which we can address. So please provide the topics which you want us to discuss, and we will be happy to help you out. And we want to make sure that you are successful. And also, if you have any challenges at your workplace, let us know. We will try to help you out. We want to listen. What are your use cases, and then we will solve your problems. So thank you everyone at this point, and we will conduct another session, and
Yes.
hoping that you will join us again.
Yes. Seems like they all are happy and they are willing to join again. Am I right, guys? The participants.
Yeah.
I will be there.
Because definitely I would like to continue this session for the 3, 4, 5 hours. I don't have any issue because I spent a lot of time with my clients from the last couple of years, so it's not a big deal for me. But definitely we have to manage the other times as well.
Fair enough.
Yes. Also, I would suggest
Yeah,
just 1 minute. Yeah, yeah.
we will also need to, increase the duration of the session because 1 hour is too less, man.
Yes, so the I would suggest the smart cloud owners, Mr. Shazar, to look over these issues, right? Also, I would suggest all of them to coordinate with Mr. Shazad, right, and share the topic whom you would like to discuss with me or discuss with us on the solutions, like the only for the DR side, only for the storage part, only for the network designing implementation and other part. So we would be happy, we will be happy to assist you.
Yes. So please, tell us what kind of topic you need, and we will definitely arrange it for you. So,
Yes.
Usman, if you can go to um, slide which has our information, or you can, anyone can go to
This one.
smartcloudsolution.com. No, no, one above. Yeah, this one. So please send us an email what kind of topic you want to be discussed, and we will arrange it for you.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Yeah, I respect everyone's time, so that's why I want to stop here. Thank you, everyone. Hope you
Thank you.
have a good time, and see you in our next session.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye bye.
everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Allah Hafiz.